Start recording. Here we go.
Yep.
Okay, we'll see.
I'm not exactly sure what this is about. So, what goes on here?
Well, so Eric and we started this podcast to like talk art shit because whenever I go to Giant Robot back when I lived near Giant Robot, I would just hang out for hours. I'd be there from 2 till 6 p.m. and Eric and I would just sit back and just talk shit all the entire freaking time.
Couldn't stop us.
Yeah.
See, whenever I go to Giant Robot, he ignores me.
Well, it's because I make I'll look at the art and I'm like, oh, what the fuck is this? and not real. I mean, I would only say it in the nicest way possible, and then we would talk shit and then we'll talk about art, and then we'll look at the whatever crap he has on for sale, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? What, another fucking this? Oh, this guy's doing another what? And and then the banter with his
and then we figure out and then occasionally when something's wrong, we'll figure out what's wrong with this painting.
Eric more
right?
So than I
because every painting, I mean, no painting's perfect, but sometimes something's wrong with something that we think we're just I think something's wrong with this perspective wise or color choice or something, and then we have a discussion, which actually I learned a lot from. Right, discussing art is how do you discuss art? Right, that's kind of it's not the easiest to do. So having an art discussion with an artist. And usually it's not subject matter, but sometimes it is. Luke will break down the subject in an instant. but in terms of technique things, it's really fun to talk about what could be different, maybe, to make if we think that makes the painting better. So that's we used to do that, and there was more, but that's how the podcast started. But then again, like you said, coronavirus
taking the wind out of our wings, and because I still believe that it's, I mean, Zoom's fine and everything, and everyone, it's it's 2021, it's 2020, this is the way we do things now, but it's still better when you're face to face.
Did you guys used to do it together in the same at Giant Robot?
Yep.
Or my house or something like that. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And we would film it and stream it and chat, and it was a lot of fun that way. And I still I think maybe in a couple weeks, I know I would be fine with it because then I'll be at peak immunity. But that's, I also have to be respectful of Eric, and Charlotte, and all these other people, and letting people in to Eric's place. I don't know how Eric, comfortable with that. Probably not.
Weirdos. A little bit of weirdos. Anyway, but so here we are. We're back. I think is this the second podcast of 2021? I think it's the second one.
I think it's the second one. What was the first? What was the? I think it was just you and me, right? The last.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
I can't even remember anymore.
Yeah.
People just dropping in every now and then.
No.
No.
We don't do that.
Invite.
This is organized.
This is serious stuff.
Yeah, you were asked to be here, so it's a little different.
That's right.
It's not like a free for all, just jump in, stranger. You hacker from China. No, absolutely not. Anyway.
Well, you know what I think is really cool is just like what Luke was talking about, coming over and just kind of chatting with you. It became almost it'd be cool to see Giant Robot become more of a meeting ground. Of just a bunch of artists where you could just hang out and talk and things like that.
What, that's been going on for a long time. You just never came.
I guess I was just never invited.
There's no invitation. You just come in. Yeah.
I think after, after,
absolutely.
After your shows are done, that's when there's just a bunch of artists hanging out. It's pretty cool.
You see those benches that are usually line the gallery? You just need to take initiative and plant your ass on the fucking bench.
Sometimes the art show keeps going for another hour with the door shut.
Oh yeah.
I think in the wintertime it's no longer anymore, but having yourself a little fire pit out in front.
Or inside. for that matter. For inside. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, so yeah, welcome to the stream, everybody. Robot and the Bear, number 66. Special guest. I believe this is 6666. I think so, and this is a special guest, Nathan Ota, with the cap that has an O.
Yeah.
An O on it. Ooh, O for Oda. I don't know what else that would be.
I don't
in
know
kanji, it could be mouth. That could mean mouth.
Yeah, that could be mouth.
You know, literally, could be mouth. I'm not kidding. That's the kanji, so I'm not sure. Anyways, welcome to the stream, and thanks for joining us, man. And you've got a show right now up at GR2.
Yep.
First art you've made, I guess first paintings you've made in a little while.
Years, it feels like. You know, it's been a long road.
7 years, and 7 years since I had a group of or a body of work, you know, for a show.
Wow.
Right. So the last time I did it was with Andrew Ham at KP Projects.
Oh wow.
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 And how far you have fallen.
Hey, Nathan, is there any way you can lower your camera a little bit, by the way? You know.
Is that better?
That is a little bit better, yeah. You know, I just didn't
Yeah, you were going lower and lower,
lower and lower.
Like
and lower.
yeah, you were doing a Kilroy or whatever. But yeah.
Wow. Well, I know you're like Mary's like cool like that. She's the kind of like gallerist that like if you guys have, it seems like if you've worked together or if you like she'll like still like keep good ties.
The joke part of it was that the fact that you showed with Andrew Ham, and now you're showing with two of your students, which is kind of amazing. That's the amazing like big change to me. And the fact was the show.
I'll tell you what. As much as I love Giant Robot, and I love showing there. I love the group shows and all that stuff, and I love hanging out with you, Eric. But ultimately, it wasn't in my plans. I was still just kind of in this little gray area, within those 7 years, and I wouldn't have done it unless that, my ex-student, asked me to do it, So it, I owe it.
So Nathan wasn't even invited.
I owe it to her for getting off my ass. I mean, other than that, it was, it was a hard start. It was really hard to get started on it, and but once I started getting into the groove, everything started getting, everything was starting to have fun.
Does this mean you're gonna?
All those feelings came back again, from like that anticipation of having a show, and is Eric gonna have like food outside and everything, and all that kind of stuff, and so it like I said, it was never in the plans of having a show. I'm I don't know what was going on, but if it wasn't for Yumi, I probably would just been out in limbo still.
And the other artist in the show was Yumi Yamazaki, one of your students, and her boyfriend, who was also your student, Bo Miles.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing. They just graduated, like a year or two ago?
Like 2 years ago, something like that.
Yeah. I just know that from a pretty early point, it seemed like you were almost like you were senpai. You were the teacher, but you were a senpai for Yumi, it seemed like. I mean, not in a weird anime sense, but it seemed like you were really proud of her as a student, and I didn't see you do that much with any other student. It seemed like you were very proud of her and her work.
I was always pushing her. Remember, every time we spoke. I mean, when I see some really good talent, and I tell them, you got to get your foot in the door somehow, and one way is use the resources you have, because otherwise, maybe you, Eric, can answer that question. It's like you probably get bombarded just with thousands and thousands of emails of people showing their work, show me, how do you, at what point do you like, is it maybe that's the question I should ask you. I mean, is it a question of you looking at it and going like, whoa, this is different, or I mean, how does that process work with you? Because we hear so many stories about art directors that you get tons of postcards and they just go right into the trash can.
Yeah. So first off, I guess I want to bring up that Nathan is a teacher, art teacher at Oates College. No, Oates. How do you say it? Oates School of
Oates College of Art and Design.
Okay, Oates College of Art and Design, which is near LAX, the airport. Art school been around for a long time, and then You also teach at Santa Monica Junior College, and you teach the same subject, I guess, art, right? Art in both of them, or painting in both of them. So I just want to start with that. So you have a lot of students, and basically what they do is same kind of thing. They might send me an email, they might send me an Instagram, but it's not as often as you think. I've had more in the past inquiries, but most of the time, the inquiries are from people that are nearly raw beginners. Unfortunately, like they're not ready and by any means, and they want to know how to show like tomorrow, and that's kind of what I get most of the time. Very little of the time is it somebody that I'd be interested in showing. Most of the time it's not. So unfortunately,
would most of it just be about just asking, inviting?
Me asking or them asking?
Asking.
Oh, for me, I'm asking most of the time. Yeah. And usually it's not somebody who dropped off a portfolio or showing me a postcard, or that's 1 in 100, maybe 1 in 100.
I remember before I knew you that, it was that giant robot painting thing, and Karen was just like, why don't you ask Nathan?
Yeah.
No, he's too busy.
Yeah.
It's just like, no, ask him.
Yeah.
It's like all it takes is just an ask.
Yeah. Oh no! I mean, I'll ask artists, but I'm talking about new artists, someone I've never worked with.
Look at this beautiful relationship we have now.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, you guys.
Yeah.
Looking at you
guys.
Aww. Beautiful.
Oh, did you know? So one thing interesting, Luke, is that if I went to the high school I was supposed to go to, Nathan and I probably would have been good friends, is my guess. We would have been the same year. He is friends with other people that I was friends with. And they actually came to the art show where I was like, oh, I haven't seen this person in many years. I only see them when Nathan shows. So Nathan, ironically, you're not friends with any, is it ironic? Maybe it's not ironic, but you're not friends with any of the guys. You're friends with all the girls still. That's interesting.
Hey, we had this conversation before.
Not live.
And
not live.
What's going on here? Like,
it's true, right?
Because
any guy I mentioned, you don't even remember.
All the guys that I was friends with were on the riskier side. They weren't on the west side. They were all on the south side.
But the girls were on the west side or are on the west side. Where's the risky girls at? There's none. It's all the.
I don't think there were any. Most of them were from the west side.
Oh, okay. There you go. Anyway,
keep in mind,
risky girls.
Yeah.
These risky guys. That sounds scary and sketchy, but all right. Anyways, it's weird though that they come to the art show and I'm like, you've been out of high school for a very long time and you're still friends with them, which is amazing. They actually come. Of course, they bring their kids and all that stuff. They didn't bring their husbands, which is also interesting. Oh, one did. You're right. One of them did.
Their husbands were there. They were just kind of like lingering in the background.
Oh, okay. Oh, keep an eye out. I got you. Anyway, so let's get back to art. Do you think you're going to continue painting? Like, are you going to get back to this, or is this like a turtle head and then you're a turtle?
Turtle head.
Yeah. Are you turtle heading? Is this
bobbing up for a little air and then kind
of the up and down thing? I get it. I'm always going to paint. It's just a matter of if I'm going to show or not. Regardless of if I'm in a show or not. That's something that's always going to happen. I think right now it's just hitting sort of this little point where I feel like nothing really fun is coming out of anything that I'm drawing right now. So that's the battle that I think every artist has, right? Luke, I'm sure you experience the same thing, right? We all hit a wall at some point. Sure. And you want to just I don't know. I mean, maybe I need to call it like the world's biggest artist block. I don't know. But writers have it, writer's block and everything. It's just, there comes a point where you feel like, what's on the other side, and I don't know yet.
Oh, wow.
That's the fun thing, right? But that was the fun thing about your show.
It's also the scary side. It's also kind of scary if you're like completely dependent on your artwork to pay your bills and everything like that. Like,
right.
But yeah,
that does sound hairy. But I guess you being a teacher allows you to kind of not have to worry about art, painting art as your, to pay your rent and whatnot. Yeah. Right. If you did, I guess you'd be forcing paintings out. That'd be a tough one.
Well, you'd be forcing paintings out, but you still got to sell them.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you stay important, in this crazy field of art? How do you stay, relevant? Right. That's the big question that everybody's going to have as artists. Right?
That is a tough question.
That's the question that I have with every artist I talk to. It's just like, how do you stay relevant? So you're not the, one and done, type of artist, right? You want to be, you want to have longevity. You don't want, to have the one hit wonder, right?
Right.
I think you just have to keep producing, though, don't you think? I'm not sure what the answer is, but I would think you need to keep producing. Like that would be kind of important. Is keeping keeping your name out there. I'm not sure though. Like then it might not make you happy. I'm not. That might be the problem with that.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure, how, Luke's upbringing was, with the arts, but I mean, for me, it was commercial art, and I was an illustrator for, close to, 10 years. And so all my work being out there, in magazines and newspapers and things like that, that was my stepping stone. It's not to say that I had a certain kind of voice, or style or anything like that. It's just the art directors, that hired me, they moved on to other things, so one art director moved on to being a gallery owner, because he just got tired of being an art director for an advertising firm. So he opened up a gallery, and that was called DVA Gallery. You guys remember that gallery?
I do.
In Chicago. So he was he used to get all my promo cards when I was an illustrator, but he just never knew how to use me, but he loved the work personally. So when he left and opened up his own gallery, I was, one of the first people he called and said, like, you want to do a show? And that was sort of like the rebirth, to my art,
Wow.
because, I've shown at La Luz de Jesus, and I've had about 2 or 3 shows there. One of them was actually with Shag, if you remember, that was like one of his first shows, actually, when I showed there, and he just, right. But yeah, it was, for me, it was just like, I didn't see the relevance of working for months and months and months on these paintings and selling like 2 paintings. It just really frustrated me. So I just stuck with doing illustration. But then once, I started teaching, I just gave up everything and I just focused on teaching, and then I started finding just the love of just painting and drawing on my own, and then all of a sudden that email comes from DVA Gallery. He's just like, hey, are you still doing art? And I'm like, yeah, and he's like, you want to do a show? I'm like, yeah. And then that was like sort of this rebirth, and I was just like, you know what, this is where I'm going to do it. And I'm going to prove to everybody out there, like, hey, here I am, and that was enough incentive for me to just work.
What year was that?
2006.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's a while ago, but not that long ago.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But the thing is through the teaching, there's been so many artists that I had the privilege of teaching, or being their instructor. And they just started to just skyrocket, in the gallery scene, and I was in the gallery scene before the gallery scene was popular, right? But then all of a sudden this boom happened, and like everybody was like showing in galleries, and unfortunately that was the time that I started teaching. But I noticed also, like, when editorial illustration kind of died out, because of online, what's that called again?
Internet? Blogs?
DeviantArt?
Stock illustration.
Okay.
When stock illustration came into play, it killed commercial art, because now companies, all they have to do is go on one website and just pick this generic art. So that happened, and it was crazy, but then all of a sudden galleries started to emerge, and like everybody was like showing, and they started getting really popular, and it's just kind of like, wow, and then DVA happened, along with that boom, and I showed, and I ended up selling out, and I was just like, awesome, And all of a sudden I just found this refound love, because it was just like painting for yourself, man. How cool is that? You know? But because of that DVA show, all the galleries that, show that kind of work all of a sudden started emailing me, and I ended up going back to La Luz just because Billy Shire, sent me a personal email and said, congratulations. And I was like, I got an email from Billy Shire,
Nice.
And it surprised me. And then, so, it's also loyalty, he's the one who gave me my first shot when I got out of school, so I went right back to him, and I've been showing there ever since, and the funny thing is when I left La Luz, that's when KP Projects called me and said, like, I heard you left. And I'm like, what? I was like, how did you know? And she's like, I've always liked your work and I've always wanted you to show here. So, Billy's my friend, so I'll never, step out of bounds and, contacting you. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. And I told her the truth. I was like, look, I was loyal to, to Billy. And quite honestly, I probably wouldn't, even though it would kill me inside because I always wanted to show there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when she did contact me, I was just going like, are you serious? I didn't think you knew I existed, but she's just like, I've been watching you, but I know that you're close to Billy. And I was just like, oh my God, and that's why I had that show there, Yeah. But long story short, that DVA show, that kept me busy all the way until, the KP Project show. And I just felt so burnt out after that, that I just needed to just break,
Was it just the art, or was it like other factors that made you not want to, like, just kind of not do art for a while?
Art. It was just art. I did like one solo a year and like 3 or 4 different group shows, sometimes I would have 2 solos, a year, and then I hooked up with Risky, and then next thing you know, I would have my own solo show and I would have a solo show with Risky and then all these group shows. It just got really crazy.
So for those of you that don't know, I guess at home or listening, Nathan Ota used to do graffiti, right, back in the day, and you were part of a crew with Risk, world famous Risk, right? What was the crew name? I'm sorry, I don't want to say the wrong one. Oh yeah, WCA. I almost said the other one, but okay, WCA.
What is the other one?
I don't. It's like one of the TV channel ones. Anyway, so
K2S.
No, CBS. I kept thinking. I always think. Yeah, but yeah, WCA, West Coast artist, and Risk is like a super legend. Third Rail, right? Third Rail Clothing is what he ended up doing, and more art. And he was on an episode of Storage Wars or something, or one of those things. Was it Storage Wars? No.
Was he on Storage Wars?
No. Pawn Stars.
Pawn Stars. Someone found one of his originals or something like that. Was that?
Yeah, and he authenticated it. Yeah, he authenticated a piece of art.
Yeah,
that was his. Yeah, something like that. But anyways, yeah. So Nathan Ota is a graffiti artist, basically, and long ago. I guess you don't do graffiti right now, but it kind of shows up in your work a little bit, in my opinion. Right?
Actually,
there's still elements in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of Risk, you also did a couple of collaborative pieces, or like some pieces that he had, also like had a hand in for the show at Giant Robot.
Yeah. A while back, I had all these like wood panels. I remember it clearly because I was in school, at Oates, and a student had all this leftover wood, and I was looking at it. I'm like, this is good panels, And I sent one of the students to the wood shop, and I said, can you cut off like little sections of it?
Oh wow.
And I just remember I was doing one of those little hangouts at Risky Studio, and I just laid them out on the table, and I was like, do your thing on this. I'm going to paint on it.
Mm-hmm.
And they've just been sitting in my studio for like the longest time, and then this show happened with Eric, and I'm like, all right, let's bring them out.
They look good. The color pieces are beautiful.
This is the calling for it,
Yeah. So do you get a lot? Oh yeah, go for it. Oh, let's see. Look at this clean wall of Nathan's with a bunch of paper bags. Are those from GR? They look like GR paper bags in the background.
GR paper bags.
No, I don't know, but no, there's a horizontal logo. There's a horizontal logo, so it's not.
The vape shop.
Oh, the vape shop? Okay.
But you know what? Look what's inside.
Oh, you have to show me. Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna pull out a Tenga or something. All right, cool. Your pins. All right.
You were kind of close, right?
Tenga? Okay.
You got a Tenga pin yet, Eric?
Tenga.
You mean in use?
Have you made a pin of them? Have you made a pin?
A Tenga?
Yeah.
Well, just you mean like an egg?
Oh no. The cylindrical one.
I don't even know what that looks like, but
I could send you pics.
it's okay. I could find it.
Tenga, isn't that like a male thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought maybe you're pulling one out of the bag. I was a little afraid, but it's all good.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, cool.
Cool. So what are these things like the cutout? Is that like a stencil or something? That little, it looks like Antarctica or something. That little splotch.
It's just splats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
But you can see how matte it is, right?
Yeah.
So I coated it with matte medium because I can't paint on top of the aerosol just because it's too slippery.
Right.
So my paint will just, it's like oil and water, it'll just release. So I put a coat of matte medium on it. But then if you saw the originals, you can see how like saturated and shiny they are, right?
Yeah. So it just automatically brought out the colors?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Once I put a shellac back on, all the colors come right back out. But you can't even tell this glitter. I'm sorry, metal flakes.
Oh no! You're not supposed to say glitter, and you said it.
metal flakes all over this, but
automotive grade metal flakes.
Yeah, but you can see the metal flakes coming out.
Oh, that's really crazy.
This one you can see. You can see this.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
oh, definitely.
So this one isn't matte medium, but this one is. So you can see the difference right away.
Oh wow! God, matte medium does.
That one. You're gonna matte the glossier one before you work on it, or are you going to like just leave it like that and hang it on the wall?
No, I'm gonna probably paint on it.
Yeah. Do you think but so in order to paint on it, you have to matte it out.
Yeah. So you could just imagine sometimes the paintings that Risky and I do, sometimes they're about 6 feet by 8 feet. Mm-hmm. Then I have to just pull out the big bottle of matte medium and pour it in there with a roller and roll over the whole thing.
Oh wow!
Because there's no way that I can paint on top of it.
Yeah, I remember seeing I think a collaborative, a couple of like collaboration pieces that you guys have done together.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites. I have a print of it.
Was that Corey Helford maybe, right?
Yeah. So this is a printout, but this is one of them that we did.
That's cool.
Whoa.
Nice.
Oh, crazy.
That's great.
That one's good. Awesome.
One of my favorite ones.
How big was the original of that?
That one was, I would say maybe 6 feet by 3 feet.
Oh wow. Okay, much bigger than that. Yeah.
But remember the one that went in the Janum show, the 2-paneled one.
Right.
That one was like 8 feet by 6 feet, I think.
Was it that big?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't remember it being that big, but that's cool.
It was in your van.
Yeah.
We had to ship.
Yeah. It's true. That was big.
But yeah, I mean, I've done even bigger ones, for them. But usually it's just a little section that I have to paint. But it's fun for me. I think when I started getting burnt out, that's when I started collaborating with Risk, and things just got exciting again. So I think every artist has to go through that, themselves. Of just kind of changing things up a little bit, so that was, for me, that was a blessing, to, get back and, touch bases again with Risk. Cause, for me, we used to hang out all the time in high school, and then after high school, that was it. It wasn't because of hard feelings. It's just, he went his way and I went to, art school, and he went to USC, and we just never really kept in touch, and then it was just through, the artist scene, that people got me to, contact him again. I mean, I was at Jeff Soto's studio, and then Jeff Soto was just looking at me. He's just like, hey, I just did this piece, or I'm working on a piece and Risky's there, and he's just like, weren't you friends with him? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, why don't you call him? And I'm like, man, it's been like 2 decades, dude. I don't know if it's kind of weird, right? And I remember Jeff Soto literally got on the computer and just like, and then he got a piece of paper and wrote it down, and he goes, here's his email. And he's like, dude, contact him,
Wow.
And I did, and next thing you know, like the response I got, immediately through the internet. And then Risky's just like, give me your number, let's meet. Just that was just simple as that. And I went to a studio and we just talked all day. And he's just like, dude, let's do something. And I'm like, yeah, let's do something. And that was the beginning of the collaboration years. And it started with Hurley. So when I was doing the thing with Hurley, what were
you doing with Hurley?
Every year they were picking in artists.
I gotcha.
And
they picked you once, yeah.
Yeah, and then they would use the designs and stuff like that for T-shirts and stuff like that. And then when the whole project's over, they use the Hurley Gallery to give you a show.
And I kind of remember. This was how many years ago? I remember this.
A long time ago.
But less than 10, right?
I don't know. 10?
I don't know. I remember this though.
But yeah, it was funny because that Hurley show did a lot for me, because my toy designing, experience came before Hurley. But the toy design that I made, it never came into, reality because the company couldn't get the funds or something to put the toy out, and that was the singing crooner toy that I have. The Blue Velvet inspired toy where the guy's singing with the light. And that was stuck in China somewhere. And so Hurley was just like, give me the email. And they just put the header of Hurley and Nike there. And then wrote down, Nathan's going to have a show. We'd really like to put this toy out, and we know that you have it in production. And the response was, how many you need? And I was like, yes.
Wow.
And the toy came out, and it was a success. It sold out.
That was an amazing toy. I remember that one vividly. Like that one was like,
that's how I met 3D Retro, because I was doing the Baby Tattooville. Mm-hmm. And this guy comes up to me and it was just like, here's my card. He's like, you interested in making toys? I'm like, absolutely. And he goes, I love the toy that you made. Mm-hmm. And then next thing you know, I've been doing, I made about three or four toys with them already.
All right. Well, you've done the birds, you've done the boy. What's the third one that?
Well, the birds, there was 4 of those birds.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Right? They're all different bird suits, and then one of them was like a toxic one, right? Mm-hmm. So they're all different birds. And then I did the sitting boy. Yeah. And that's the one that got, see, the weird thing is when they were designing that toy, the sculptor was, finished it all and all that stuff. And I was sitting in his office, and I remember he just sat there and just went, this is going to get game of the year.
Toy of the year?
Or toy of the year. And I was just going like, that'd be cool. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really think anything of it, but next thing you know, the award ceremony came, and it was like toy of the year, nomination. I was like, this guy really knows what he's talking about,
Wow.
And
wait, what is the toy of the year thing?
I think it's something that Clutter puts together, where it's.
Well, how many of those have you won, Luke? Like you're like the guy with like 100 Oscars or whatever. 100 toy.
I've got about 4 of them.
Okay, so you got nominated. Whoa, but Luke got 4. Aw.
No.
I'm kidding.
No. I got them for like.
That's amazing.
Possessed.
You guys are
Target and at least 3 of them. I've got one. Patrick's got the other, and then I got like some kind of a like lifetime achievement award, but it's put together by Clutter, and it's usually
lifetime. That's awesome.
See,
well, I mean, like it's not lifetime. It's more like it's kind of like they went back and they looked, like before like looked at toys that kind of had like made a big quote unquote impact on the entire like scene, and my Possessed toy, which came out in 2007, was awarded, given the award. And
I didn't even know about these awards, so I'm like, what?
I love that toy.
Yeah, it is a classic.
Do you get a trophy or something? Do you have like a?
Yeah.
No way! I was totally kidding. What? Did you get a trophy, Nathan?
I just got a nomination. It didn't win.
Oh shit! I thought yours won too.
No.
What won that year?
Happy it got nominated.
That's amazing. But what won? Do you even know?
No, I don't.
It was like a Beanie Baby or a Furby or something. You're just like, oh, Furby.
No idea. No idea. But yeah, it was just cool. You know, it was just cool that oh wow.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Wait, so you have 3 of those or whatever?
Yeah, I've got another one that is at Monkey King, and then another one that's at.
I can't believe that exists. Holy that's the first time I've ever seen that. Wait, show that on the camera. I don't know if anyone's ever, whoever's at home, if ever you could watch this. I've never.
That thing seems heavy.
Is that a Pete Fowler toy? What is that?
Yeah, it's Pete Fowler.
It is Pete Fowler.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
that's really cool.
Oh my god.
You know, and this is for the collaboration I did with Jason Freeney.
And how much do you have to pay for that? I'm kidding.
No, they just gave it to me. But,
that's amazing. What the hell?
But,
I've never seen that in my life, and there must be like a shitload of those out there, right? Or at least
there's a handful of them. Like I think they made them for every year up until probably last year. Where
COVID.
COVID.
I've not seen that once. That's amazing.
The newer ones are lighter. They're actually made with out of vinyl rather than out of resin. So
it's still cool,
which is nice. Like that. I forgot how heavy that thing is, but you know, but
I didn't even get nominated for the Big Boss one.
I know, like, what's up with that? It's all internal politics. You're just not like, you know.
Oh, I didn't donate money. I didn't buy enough. Oh, I didn't buy enough ads in Clutter magazine.
Buy enough ads in Clutter magazine.
Yeah. Oops. Didn't buy that full page ad. Sorry.
Ben should do some kind of like decon award thing, but like, you know,
I agree.
I agree. That's for another conversation.
Or they could do a different style one. I don't know.
No, well, yeah. I mean, like this, like a best.
And it'll be all political again. It'll be like, oh, it's not a 3D retro toy. Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, you know, you have everyone at their booths gets a chance to like, you know, like nominate something, you know, to be, you know, to be considered for an award. That'd be cool, you know.
Luke, how did you get into the whole game of designing toys and things like that?
I think I started painting, and after moving to Los Angeles, I remember discovering the Kid Robot website. And back then, before it wasn't like really a Kid Robot centric website. It felt like it was like an archive, almost like a catalog of like all these like various designer toys. Like, you know, it was pre-Dunny. It was like, you know, the Key by Toy2R, the, you know, Michael Lau stuff, the early Labbit designs by Frank Kozik, and the Gary Baseman toys and Tim Biscup stuff, you know, from a long time ago.
I remember the Tim Biscup. I picked those up just because they were just so cool looking.
Yeah.
So I guess I was kind of a collector before I even knew what this whole craze was.
No, it all like you know, like came like it all kind of preceded like it all kind of fueled the first rush in, you know, the early 2000s. And I think, like, you know, seeing these things, like my artwork was always kind of inspired by the, you know, that aesthetic. And so I kind of feel like I created paintings with the idea that they could also be translated into toys. You know, and
was that always in the back of your mind then, like to have that kind of?
Not always, but
because, you know, if you design something in a way that can't be made, you know.
No, I mean, like, not really, but I'll look back at some of my paintings and go, oh, this would be a great painting. Oh, this would be a great painting.
Because for example, you know, like for example, Giant Robot, the name of Giant Robot, kind of, I had it in mind. Hey, I can make T-shirts that say Giant Robot on it. Would be cool, right? Like I had it in mind. Like there are things that I can do with that name. If you call myself something else, I'd be like, no, it won't work, right? So that was always in the back of my mind. It was
Giant Robot's
something.
a great fucking name. There's a lot of people like just waiting for, like, just nipping at your heels to like take over like the brand. I think not your brand, but just to take over the name. And
I have the URL for another decade or century or something. I'm not sure. Seriously, the URL, I think I have that for a long time.
Nice.
But yeah,
it's weird. Like the toy thing is interesting because, like, around 2000, around the time of the recession, 2007 through 2009 or 10, like all of it just kind of went crashing down with like the economy. But like the then like this entire like what are they, Funko Pop thing kind of started happening. And you know, it was these little like cute little like,
Oh, what year was that though? Like maybe 2013 or something. It wasn't 2007, right?
no, it started, I think it started around 2008, 2009.
Oh wow.
But like I think it
What's
really
But
picked up steam when the economy started recovering at around 2011, maybe 2012,
gotcha.
around there. And suddenly like this new kind of kawaii collector culture thing kind of came into being. Like people were like wanted to buy like small little things and you know, express their, you know, I guess their personalities that like, you know, helped like, you know, people share in the, you know, fan culture of like pop culture. Like you're a big Marvel person, so you buy all the Marvel ones, or you're a big freaking, you know, DC person, so you buy all the DC, you know, Funko Pops. And you know, I kind of a long time ago I predicted that like this entire Funko thing is going to eventually transform back into a art toy collector thing, simply because of the fact that a lot of people were taking Funkos and customizing them. And it's that custom culture that kind of merges art and, you know, toy cultures together, and people being really interested in all that kind of, you know, soon people like will lean more to the art side rather than the Funko side. And it happened. Like people are still buying fucking toys. It's kind of amazing. I mean,
So how do
Eric.
people, how would young artists, you know, here goes the educator in me.
Mhm.
How would young artists get into that business? I mean, what are some of the criterias to that? I mean, do they have to have some kind of following? Do they have to have some kind of identity, some kind of brand?
I
Will
mean,
companies take a chance with somebody new? I mean, how
well,
does that work?
first by going and getting on the forums, right? Like finding places where people who are interested in that kind of stuff congregate, you know. And then like, you know, you can start by like customizing is probably the easiest way to get into it, because you already have a platform that you could work with. You can like, you know, repaint it and you know, like
Resculpt it.
resculpt it by adding things with like various different kinds of like materials, like magic sculpt, you know, which is a two-part polymer clay, or which, you know, is it's really tough when it cures. And you can, you know, or you know, and then like there's different ways of reproducing these things, like resin casting, which is, you know, you could do out of your garage. You could buy kits for resin casting at a fucking Michael's, you know. And
I think it's just getting your stuff out there, but actually having it in 3D is a good idea. Unless I always think, I mean, if you have the design of an idea of the decade and somebody will bite on it, maybe, right? But otherwise, I think having a following is important. If someone's going to put tens of thousands of dollars into a project, you know, it would help that if you have a following that they'll know that it has a good chance of selling.
That's the thing. Like, you know, people like don't have to realize that like toy production is expensive. It is like, you know, when you're fucking like, you know, like the reason why these collectibles are freaking like 40, 60, $80 a piece is because they cost like a bunch to fucking manufacture and have shipped, you know. And like, and the
And shipping is killer, man. It's like you're like, oh, I got a good price on it. Okay, yay! All of a sudden, you're like shipping, and you're like, oh, shipping's gonna make it expensive, you know?
like
Some of them actually are hand painted.
I
Yeah.
think they're all almost, unless it's Tampo, specifically Tampo, it's all fucking hand painted.
Yeah.
You know, like that is like maybe like eye details are Tampo printed, but like most of them are freaking like, you know, hand airbrushed, you know.
Yep.
And you
Yeah,
know,
Even the
that's
even
shocking.
small figures.
yeah, like
Yeah.
even like some like those like expensive ass Japanese dolls that people can buy, like they have like metal masks that clamp around like the appendage that they're painting, and like with just the openings in there, and they'll sit there with an airbrush and like, you know.
It's and fast, huh?
Yeah, and it's an intensive process. It's not
Dude,
cheap.
Takashi Murakami told me, like, when he went to a factory in China to see them making toy figures, that he was gonna make the small ones that he did.
Mhm.
He said that they were children. No, I'm people. He didn't say children, but they had brushes in their hands like this, but like multiple, like in between each finger. So they're painting an object going, then they just move to the next brush, and each one had a different color, right? So they're sitting there going ding, and then next brush, and then next brush. So like their hand had a bunch of brushes in them in one.
That's amazing.
So they're just like painting details in, Isn't that crazy?
Can you
We
do
used to
that?
do that at school.
Really?
Yeah, when you're painting with oils, because every brush had its own color, so you would just have them in a fist, all sticking out like this. So you just pick up one and paint, put it back in there, and then do this.
Oh, yeah, but in China they just leave it in their hand and they hold the toy and go. Arr! Isn't that crazy?
Really?
Yeah, that's what he said they do. He said he couldn't believe it
That's pretty talented.
he said that, and they have little fine brushes in between in their knuckles, just
Wow, that's hard to do.
crazy,
That's
right?
That's probably a lot of muscle memory right there.
And he was just saying how amazing. He was just like, oh my god, like he told me this whole story and he couldn't believe it. But and maybe they were children, like little kids. No, I'm kidding. They weren't little kids. I don't know. Yeah, very very amazing.
But and I think if you could get an artistic following, then you could probably get the attention of, like Monkey Kings or 3D Retros or any of the other toy producers out there.
But I do think there is a graveyard of toys that have been made that are just still in boxes sitting there, aging and aging and aging. Right? There is that we don't know about that, but
it was called DKE back in the day. Do you remember? I'm kind of shit talking right now, but like,
oh, you mean just that's where people would send it?
Like Dove used to do distribution to like around the. I think it was, if not the continental North America.
It's around. I think it's around the world, really.
Yeah,
he did around the world,
and and like some toys just wouldn't do well, and they'll just sit there. And people.
Oh, that's not an indictment on him at all. That's he's just a distributor trying to sell stuff that nobody wants.
Yeah, and like the companies would like, and he would. I remember Dove would like buy like all kinds of crazy dead stock. There was this company that did like the Yoshi Tomonara, like the motorized, like the dog.
Bozart. It was called Bozart or Serial Art. Yeah.
Serial Art. Like I remember like when.
I know what you're gonna get to. Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah. He just bought like a ton of Serial Art dead stock and like.
Yep. Marcel Zama.
I got all the Marcel Zama figures that way. Yeah. I was so stoked.
And everyone right now is listening, going, "Who's Marcel Zama?" Right there's. It's true, right? He kind of. I don't know what happened. Like he's.
So do you think a lot of these collectors are collecting it just for the rarity of the toy, or they're huge fans of that particular art?
Combination of both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Combinations of both.
That's what I'm saying. I think some of the things that got made, maybe, and not in Marcel Zama's case, he was well known, but some of the artists maybe that made figures just like nobody knows who they were or are, and then those figures kind of still sit in a warehouse. I think it exists. There's a lot of it.
Yeah.
So. That's the stuff that we sort of don't hear, but we do see amazing toys out there, though. Mm-hmm. Like your stuff came out, Nathan, was awesome. The birds came out, they were rad. Luke's stuff's rad. But for every one of those, and this is more advice for your students kind of a thing, they should know that there's a ton that got made that somebody lost their shirt on, Yeah. So it's really hard for them to get started. That's what I think. They have to, if they're really like not well known, they've got to make something and cast it themselves, try to get something made to really show a proof of concept, I guess. That they can make something that looks rad and see if it'll get traction.
Right.
Yeah.
Because ideally, if you have a big following, then it's like, oh, no brainer. Like, oh, let's do it, right?
Right.
Because even something bad might sell, for that matter. So it's something good, even better.
Yeah, I would think there has to be like a strong brand the artist has,
It helps, I think.
A very specific look, something eye-catchy and, automatic. If you see, you see a white bear from from the distance of the back room, it's Luke. right? Just like the two bears we see back there.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's
right there.
it's just automatic. You know, it's really quick to read. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like even your stickers. You know, it's a very simplistic thing, but the shape itself, and you see the bear shape. It's just like that's Luke.
Well,
Yeah.
style and design are tricky, right? Like, and then there's like also an issue of stick-to-itiveness to it, right? Like to like like because like don't you feel like a lot of artists just want to like self-destruct and like like take everything they've built up and trash it,
They do that, don't they?
like,
I've seen artists that happen. Well, like, have you ever? I mean, well, as from a gallery's perspective too, if I'm working with an artist, like, and I'm selling their art, or I want to make a zine with them, or a book, or whatever.
there.
Oh, yay!
Right?
Oh, my sticker!
This is
Yay!
automatic. You
Yeah.
see this? And it's
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you'd hope the artist keeps going, and like if they change everything on a dime, you're going to be stuck with stock of their old work, right? There's that too.
Well, like
know?
I mean, like I remember a long time ago, kind of like thinking to myself, like the way it should work, at least for like a guy like me, is it should evolve. Everything should evolve slowly in a way so that people who've been following you from the long term, will feel like it's evolving with them as well, right? Like,
Yeah,
like
I love that.
you know,
That's true.
like to suddenly like drop everything and start over again is it's just like, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a bold idea, but like, and if you have the means to do it, then go for it. But
I've seen artists that maybe drew fine, detailed work, or at least tried to, like your work, Nathan. Sort of, artists that were doing that. Then all of a sudden, I'm now going to turn into like a loose, really loose, style of an artist, right? They've decided on a dime. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to now paint with a wide brush only. Have you ever seen? I mean, I've seen that where I'm like, whoa, like the art is completely different overnight. It's really wild to see that when that happens. I've only seen it a few times, but when I've seen it, I'm like always like, oh my gosh,
right.
Yeah. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah, I mean, I've had so many like real serious conversations about like just art in general, and it's just it's a never ending conversation, right? But the most recent one I had, we were on the phone for like 4 hours, and it was just like I was just tripping out because we were just going over like what do you call these movements that are happening right now as artists? It's just like where do you fit in that the isms, and that's the thing that's just always a big question mark, right? Because there's always high art and there's going to be maybe a lesser kind of art, and then there's going to be whatever. It's like everybody's trying to like coin some kind of phrase to put it under, and it's just like it's always going to be the big question that whenever I get interviewed, one of the questions that will always be asked is, where do you categorize yourself in? It's like, oh God, here we go. It's like I don't know. Well,
I mean, like, isn't that really for you to decide?
Surreal, are you lowbrow? Are you whatever? And I'm just like, I'm a painter. Let's just call it that. I paint. Is this so confusing?
Well, yeah, I think like I used to take major issue with the title lowbrow, or the genre, the name of lowbrow, simply because of the fact that I always associated lowbrow. I mean, like I always kind of feel. I mean, from my understand, that the label lowbrow came from the Robert Williams book, The Lowbrow Art of Robert Williams, and Robert Williams's work, and like the work of a lot of his colleagues, like was rooted in this like pinstriping and like very like Americana kind of aesthetic, hot rods, diner culture, you know, and stuff like that. And I never felt like, you know, my work had any of that, those elements, you know, in there. I had no, like, I don't find any of that nostalgic. I don't find any of that even remotely interesting. So like, why am I, you know, how is it that my work, you know, fundamentally, like, you know, like, doesn't even like line up with any of that? And then pop surrealism, like, just like those two words there are so like, it's cringy to a certain degree, just because of the fact that like surrealism is this movement that, like, you know, this mid 20th century movement that like freaking like had manifestos written, you know, for it, you know, pop art, you know, like, I'm not fucking like taking pop culture you know, elements and fucking like, you know, reappropriating them and as a commentary about fucking America, about our society, you know. So like, how is this fucking pop surreal? You know, just because it's trippy, like, ooh, like I'm used.
But you do memes.
I do. I love.
You're reinterpreting memes.
You know, I just learned that, like, you know, the Incel Tears drawing. I just learned that his name is Wojak.
Whoa. Okay.
I should have named that piece, you know, Wojak.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, I love. I don't know about you, Nathan, but you know, like, the internet is a fun place to run around, and those memes, I feel like they're like the latest in like communicative art, visual art, in, you know. And I'm constantly like loving what I see. And so I incorporate a lot of that stuff into my work. Like, let me see, like, I did the Popcat one, I've done Popcat, I've done the Buff Doge, I've done Wojak, I've done Always Has Been, like all these like weird memes that like speak to me. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna fucking put it into my fucking work somehow. And I think I like to think that it's making me like a 21st century artist.
Nathan, what artists do you like, or is there anybody that you always check out that you enjoy? Good.
Hello?
He heard me.
I'm thinking.
Okay.
It's impossible to ask that question. It's just like saying, "What's your favorite punk rock band?"
No,
Bad Brains, yeah. Bad Brains, yeah.
It's just
Black
tough,
Black
you know?
Flag, yeah. Yeah.
Minor Threat.
Very easy.
Yeah.
Very easy. Yeah, Minor Threat. Yeah, that's him.
If you were deserted on a
Big Boys,
on an
yeah.
island, you know, what is that one CD you're gonna have, or music?
My Bloody Valentine, Loveless, no problem.
Oh wow.
I can't answer that. You know, what's
My Bloody Valentine, Loveless, thank you.
What's your one movie that you would bring with you?
Rushmore.
Wow. See, I couldn't answer any of those questions. I mean, there's so many. You know, there's so many artists. You know that are.
Well, no, I think the what we're asking is like, who have you been kind of checking out? Like, who, like, has anything caught your eye?
That's caught in my eye. Wow.
Sorry, Nathan. I had answers to all those things.
You're putting me on the spot here. You know, I mean,
No, it's not this.
we're
not asking you. We're not asking you whether or not they're good or not. We're just asking you, like, you know, what, like are you just like mostly kind of focused in on like the students that you're teaching, or like, are there like, you know, like, did you go see the Yoshitomo Nara show at, like, you know, LACMA, which wasn't a great show, if you ask me?
Well, I mean, you know, as far as like you know, the art in this genre that we're, you know, kind of talking about. I mean, you know, there's always Todd Shore, that whatever he does just blows me away.
Yeah.
You know,
Awesome.
Chris Mars, I think, is just amazing, you know, with his paints. You know, also an amazing drummer for Replacements, right? But I mean, you know, Scott Musgrove, right?
I haven't seen Scott Musgrove in a long. Like, I've seen some of his sculptural stuff, but like, I haven't seen, like, he was like so hot in like the early 2000s, and then he just kind of like, you know, like, I often wonder what happens to,
Even Command Z. I mean, I follow him, and I just love seeing whatever he puts out. So yeah, as far as contemporary, it's kind of like asking me who's my favorite band now. I don't really have any favorite bands now. It's all from the past. I think I've gotten that old, to the point where I'm not really listening to anything new, and it's kind of like that with art. It's I do see what's coming up, but it's a lot of the classics I think still hit me. One thing I think there's a big misunderstanding with me is a lot of people, they see my work, they see the way that I teach, and all they want to see from me is rendered. Mr. Oda doesn't care about anything unless it's rendered. And to me that's bullshit. It doesn't matter, if something is splattered on a canvas or if something took years to paint. It's what fits your eye. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, then you move on.
And there's some things that, so you walked, when we did the Rakugaki drawing show, there are some drawings that you stopped at and said, oh, this is really good. And I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh, that was one I wouldn't think you would like. And I don't think you even knew who the artists were, but you went, oh, this is really good.
Right.
And you stopped at a few. And I was surprised though. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, sometimes it might just be a drip, that's on there. That's just like, so just random, and I'll just be so just, crazy about it. I remember, in New York, I remember sitting in front of a Pollock and like an hour passed and I was still sitting there just staring at it. There's something about it that just draws me to it. Rothko, I don't know what it is about Rothko, but I'll sit in front of a Rothko piece and I'll just go just be amazed. I don't know what it is. It's just, it just all depends. It's whatever fits my fancy. Yeah.
I dig the Rothko as well. Like if I see in a museum, I don't know like how I'd feel if I saw a copy, would I even know? I'm not sure, but
right.
I do like it. When I see it in a museum, I'm always like, oh, I like it. But I think it's because it's daring. It's just a bunch of color bars kind of, right? Rough.
But it's also funny too, because whenever I go to a museum, it's just like, for me, it's almost like eating. It's just like I'll start putting the portions that I want to save for like the most enjoyment later, and then all the like the vegetables and stuff, I'll put it over here and I'll just start eating up real quick, and I'll save all the good stuff for last. And I see myself doing that in a museum, because, I remember at the Broad, I was walking and there's this long hallway corridor and there's nothing on the walls and there's a Chuck Close way on the back, and I passed by it and I glanced at it and I quickly turned away and I just kept on watching everything else because I wanted to see everything else and then go right to the Chuck Close and just be like this in front of the painting, and just start, just having fun, just looking at all this information in there,
Wow.
Cool.
Wow. I love that.
The interesting thing about art, to me, and I try to tell all my students this as well, is like, it's a fucking time machine. You go to the museum, you're in a time machine. It's like, you can look at a Van Gogh painting and you can see bristles stuck inside the oil paint, and then you start thinking, it's like, that's fucking a Bristol in, in Van Gogh's brush,
at least,
it's just that just blows me away. That whole idea blows me away.
So Luke, purposely just get them scissors, cut them bristles out, bury them in your paintings. Every painting
buried in my paintings, whether I like them to or not.
Well, even like a Jackson Pollock, if you see his footprint on there, you're just like, that's like archaeology.
That's cool.
Right
yeah.
It's just like, that's him. It's
cat hair. Cat hair gets into a lot of art. I notice there's a lot of cat hair. Like I look at a painting, I'm like, I see cat hair in there. Not Jackson Pollock, but just ones that are at GR2. Actually, sometimes
there was a what's his name? Oh my god, why am I blanking on his name right now? Does those inflatable, does the balloon animals? The
famous, famous guy who's really expensive. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name.
Yeah,
balloon animal guy, giant sculptures of balloon animals. Somebody
help us out. Someone help us out.
Somebody help us out.
It's on the tip of my tongue too, but I just can't have it come up.
I blame the
no, not Tom Sachs. I forgot. And famous guy, super famous guy.
Super fucking famous.
Like top 10 living artist famous.
Yeah, fucking, oh my God. Why is this happening to me? Koons. Jeff Koons. Like I remember at the Lockma, and they had like one of the top floors is a bunch of Jeff Koons stuff, and they had like those gigantic paintings that look like kind of bad Photoshop-ish kind of stuff because it was, made in the like latter 20th century or something like that. But if you look really closely, like you could see the occasional, brush bristle like embedded in the paint. And
wow.
Okay, so it was all hand painted. That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, those kind of things, those little physical things that I think just blow me away. Every time I look at art, maybe you see a fingerprint in there or a smudge, and you can see a little remnant of a fingerprint, that's left in there from the paint. I mean, that kind of stuff is just blows me away because it's just so, connected to us, people. Whereas, you don't really quite get that when you look at a computer image, or in this day where everything is just 3D and computerized and stuff like that. You don't get that sense of hand to, canvas or hand to board, right. kind of surface, idea, mm-hmm. Which is probably going to take us to the next subject of NFTs, right?
No, I was going to save that conversation for Jeff Soto if we get him on the show.
Yeah. I was like, oh no.
I haven't minted any NFTs. I know Eric's minted an NFT with
David Horvath. Yeah.
What does it actually stand for?
Non-fungible
token.
So it's basically a non-fungible token, which means it is it has a digital like fingerprint to kind of indicate that this is the authentic article, kind of like a COA or a certificate of authenticity.
I have a feeling this conversation, this topic is just never ending. It's just
right now. Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I think if you're making money off of it, good for you. I've thought about it, but I'm really kind of like picky about like what I want to have minted.
Oh, let's make a Robot and the Bear one. Okay.
Well, here's a question. Here's a question for you.
Makes sense.
That's the one.
Yeah. Okay.
If there are a lot of non-believers in NFTs, right? Mm-hmm. Will it devalue the actual art?
No.
You don't think so?
No. I don't know why. Why would it?
Why would it? Like, it's just another. I mean, like, does doing prints devalue artwork?
To some people, it does.
Fuck those people.
Yeah, that wouldn't make sense. I mean, Murakami's prints, for example, don't affect its original value.
I don't think. I actually think that my prints up the value of my original because, now, like the demand is high enough that people are willing to buy reproductions of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the person who owns it has the fucking real deal, right there with all the fucking hair, dust, spit, because there's usually a lot of spit mixed in with my paints. And,
wow.
And fucking cat hair, cat hair and whatever that is like, embedded into that paint.
But also, even on the smaller scale, compared to like a painting, for example, we sell prints by Cassia, who works at the store. They're $15 for a 5x7 open edition, right? And I think the other day, and I can't remember, I was like showing it, just on a stream, going, "Look, these are some rad prints, and they're really inexpensive." And somebody commented, "I have the original of that," and I was like, "Holy shit! Like that's awesome! Like it's to me worth so much more than what you probably paid for it to me, you know, like mentally, because I see the prints all the time, and I'm like, the original, there's just one, you know, that is the one that gave birth to these prints that are, there's a shitload of them. So no, it means always means more. It would never mean less, I don't think, unless the prints were shitty.
Well,
You know?
that's the thing is that, like, you know, original artwork, you know, you have the medium, watercolor, graphite, acrylic, oil, you know, aerosol, whatever. Like, it'll never compare to the original one. The original one, like, you know, even as the original ages, potentially discolors, you know, oxidizes, etc., like, that is still part of the painting. That is still part of the process of that piece of artwork existing. You know, meanwhile, a reproduction is a reproduction. Now, the problem with NFTs right now is that, like, you buy a JPEG with an NFT, you know, like, you know, blockchain extension to it, like, it's still going to look like any other fucking JPEG, you know, of the same work. You take a fucking screenshot of that shit and fucking, it's like, you know, you got it. There it is. It's, you know, looks good. That's a little bit problematic, but like, I remember, like, I was on Clubhouse, and that's what
Clubhouse.
and that's what everyone was talking about on there for a while. And like, they were talking about like incorporating like some kind of software so into like the image files so that they change with time.
Oh wow.
You know, like, you know, and it's possible because that's just the like, you could do that with digital files now. You know, if you have a digital file that, like, you know, whereas the images, the quality of the image decays after like 50 years or something like that, you know.
Or maybe it changes, yeah, you said changes colors, like a bear all of a sudden becomes a rainbow bear after 2 years, right?
Rainbow bear.
But it's like an ever slow GIF animation or something, you know, just like, there's probably programming you could put in. I'm sure. I don't know anything.
That will actually probably change the quality of the JPEG over time.
Sure.
So like
or self-destruct.
Yeah, self-destruct.
Could do that too.
No, and
unless you pay the royalty. Pay the royalty or I'll self-destruct.
Or
pay the royalty to Luke Chu or else that's going to disappear. Delete.
Having, like, I mean, you could have screenshots of what it looked like in the beginning, but like,
it won't be the original one. Dude.
Yeah, but to know that the original one is designed to fall apart or to change through time.
Didn't Banksy do this?
I don't know.
Oh no, he did that with a real piece of art.
Yeah.
He put it with the shredder.
Like a non-digital piece of art, let's just say. I guess digital art's still real, but yeah, physical, whatever. Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
I don't know. We cap it at an hour 45. People don't listen to this shit for fucking an hour and a half.
Oh, I think we lost a bunch, but yeah, it's okay.
You know, but like, you know, Nathan, like, you have a lot to say, and there's so much more that I would like to talk to you about.
Well, that means we'd have Nathan on as a guest again.
Yes.
Again, right? Yeah.
Nathan, would you be willing to do future episodes of Robot and the Bear?
Absolutely. You know, I mean, Zoom just makes everything easy, right?
It does, but I mean, I'm looking forward to the day where we can be able to, like, you know, do it face to face and then grab a bite afterwards.
Oh, Nathan, doesn't that make you... So just so you know, everybody in the world, if you want to know Nathan Ota, or if you're friends with Nathan Ota, involve food. It changes everything. Look how excited he is. Look,
it's the same.
Look at how,
like, you know, if you want to, like, you know, like, be friends with me, invite me to a meal, preferably a good one.
There you go. Because even for Nathan, it's like, I got to drop off this thing. Do you want to have lunch? I got to drop off this thing. Do you want to have dinner? Oh, you got to come pick it up. Want to have dinner? It's like every time I'm always like, I'm going to plan this now. Drop it off at 5 or 5:30 or 6. There's dinner, possibly, you know, or lunch. Make sure it's like 12 or 1, not at 3. You know, yeah, very clever. I like it.
Food makes everything beautiful.
It certainly does.
Yeah,
It certainly
it
does.
does.
That's the best part about, you know, being out in the west side, going out to the west side. Is just like there's go to Giant Robot and there's like a list of things to eat.
And then you come out to my side of the neck, and
that's a crazier list.
It's Koreatown, right?
Koreatown and amazing. Oh man,
if you come out to
how many
end of the town, a crazy fucking list. If you want Chinese food, it's oh yeah, I got Chinese food down.
Japanese, Chinese, and Korean.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yay! Yay!
Like hanging out like with Nathan, we ate well. That was awesome. Anyways, let's wrap this up. And
alrighty.
You know,
what do you got to leave everybody with, Nathan, for this short interview?
Advice that you would give to an art student or an artist, you know, like how do you like end your class the term, you know, with your students? Is there a piece of advice?
The main thing that I'm always saying is, you know, if you're, you know, doing art for the money, you're in it for the wrong business. You know, regardless if you're making money or not, you should be just, you know, for me, regardless if I was, you know, working for a company or selling at a gallery, I would still be doing art regardless if I was making money or not. You know, I think it shows in the work, you know, so, you know, love what you do. You know, that's just simple, plain and simple.
Awesome. You know, one thing I wanted to bring up before we left was there was a student of yours who came to the art show. She's not an Oates student. She was an older woman. I mean, older meaning not 20, right? Maybe 40s. I'm not sure. And so whenever a person comes in and says that they are a student of yours, Nathan, I usually ask, "Oh, how's Nathan? Tell the truth," you know, because I know you can be strict. And she said that that the class was amazing, and she said that class changed her life. At
Better or for the worse?
Better. Mm-hmm. Santa Monica College. She just said it changed my life. Like I've done art and I've learned so much, and it's changed my life. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. She said one class did that.
I had the good fortune of sitting in on Nathan's class. I think it took 3 of the classes that term, and it completely changed the way I manage my paints now.
And we never went out to eat.
I know. It was. I know. What was up with that? It was because, you know, like by the time the class is over, it was just like, well, I mean, you got a lot of other things going on with you at the time too. I know that. So, but like, you know, it was. But you know, we should definitely like eating is definitely. But yeah. No, anyways, the class definitely was very transformative for me.
Wow.
I mean, I think I'll end with this, but I think as far as teaching is concerned, one of the main things that I'm always hearing is, you tell it like it is. I don't want any sugarcoating, or things like that. And it's about knowing what to do to make your stuff better. And it's just one opinion, right? And that's the beauty of taking all kinds of art classes, because you get all kinds of different opinions, right? And criticism sucks. If I was walking around and someone, kept on telling me you're ugly, and everybody kept on telling me I'm ugly, it would suck.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, art school is kind of like a whole different breed where you're getting a bunch of people going, you suck, you suck, you suck.
I think that's good though. Isn't that helpful ultimately? I don't know if it breaks you down, but I've had, you could tell who hasn't gone to art school. They can't handle criticism. Like they didn't go to art school. They didn't get that. So then you say something negative about their art and they get defensive as all hell. It's really weird.
Well, my favorite was being in the elevator at Oates, and this one student of mine walked in, and he was just kind of, his head was down. I'm like, so how you doing? And he goes, I just had a crit with blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, oh, really? How'd it go? And he goes, it was brutal. And I go, what did he say? And he goes, I've seen elementary school kids' drawings better than yours.
Wow.
And he started, and this is the thing, is he started laughing, right?
Uh-huh.
And I was just like going, he said that? And the student started laughing, and he just goes, you know what? He was right. And I was just like, okay. this kid understands it. It's just like, yeah, get better. So it was it takes it's all kinds of different things. But I mean, when I was in school, yeah, I've had people pointing fingers at me all the time, and it sucked. But it just kept on motivating me to just work harder. Not to just please the teacher, but please myself. But also, one teacher might love it and another teacher might hate it. Right? It's all opinions.
Right. And on that note,
work harder, accept criticism, use it to work harder.
And how can people get a hold of you, Nathan Oda? Is it Nathan T. Oda?
Oh, wait, what's the phone number? No, I'm kidding.
Like Instagram, what's your social media?
Instagram's probably the easiest.
Instagram,
yeah.
Nathan T. Ota. Not Nathan Ota, but Nathan T. Ota.
Yeah.
That T stands for what? I don't know.
Toast.
Okay. Anyway.
You're not on I guess you're not on TikTok. I guess you're not on
No.
I don't understand any of that stuff. Sorry.
It'll be okay.
Okay.
Instagram is good. So thanks a lot for joining with us, man. And I'll see you really soon. Like soon. And you too, Luke. See you soon.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah. Do you have an ending song for us, Luke?
No.
Oh.
It has to happen. Like,
I just wanted to plant the seed for next time.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Cheers.
Thanks, man. See you.